Today's Friday. Ariella, turn it off. And it's what? Today's Yud Aleph Tammuz. Tomorrow's Yud Bis Tammuz. Shabbos is Yud Bis Tammuz. Shabbos is Yud Beis Tammuz. And then there's a Gimel Tammuz. Yeah. The Chag HaGeula from the Frierdiker Rebbe 93 years ago. 93 years ago. I have a recollection, and it's terrible to say things when you know yourself, you're not sure if you remember it correctly. Tovshin Nun Aleph, Shnas Tinaseh, was 93 years from the Siyastus of Temchet Mimim. Tovshin Nun Aleph was 93 years, Tzaddik Gimel Shana, from the Siyastus of Temchet Mimim. Right, Temchet Mimim started Tov Reish Nun Zayin, so maybe it was Tov Shin Nun. Tov Reish Nun Zayin till Tov Shin Nun is Tzadik Gimel Shana. So they wrote to the Rebbe, Mistam Bar Fabrengen, and the Rebbe gave an acknowledgement, and the Rebbe said, V'yesh shleimer al derech haremez, Tzadik Gimel Kelim Shehoyu B'mikdash. The Rebbe wrote, I didn't understand then what the Rebbe means, I don't understand now what the Rebbe means, but it's reminding me, this is 93 years, Tzaddik Gimel Shana, since the Rebbe Rayatz, the Frierdiker Rebbe, went out of prison, Shpalerke, both the Shpalerke prison as well as Ir Meklote, Kastrama, in Tov Reish Beis Zayin, 1927, now it's 2020. It's 93 years. So in the Munzach, yeah, the brain sometimes works. If it's from a long time ago, you remember. 30 years ago, Mistami, it must have been Tov Shin Nun. So with Elul, Yud Gimel Elul is the Yom Hitziyas of Shivas Temchet Mimim. So the Rebbe wrote a note that it's Tzadik Gimel Kelim Hoy B'Mikdash. The truth is, now that I'm telling it to you, I'll go home and look it up. I'll come back on Sunday, maybe I'll talk about it some more. That it says in Chazal that the Kelim, the Beis HaMikdash had to have a minimum of 93 Kelim. I once saw the Cheshbon, it's brought even in Rambam, I think, but it's brought to Chazal. There was a minimum of 93 Kelim in the Beis HaMikdash. So the Rebbe said that the Remez of 93 years is the Tzadik Gimel Kelim Hoy B'Mikdash. It's just, even if I don't say any pshat, because I don't really have any pshat, the Etzaminyan that you're remembering something that the Rebbe wrote 30 years ago, B'negeh to the number Tzadik Gimel Shoyna Greis Zach, it's already a big deal. And I'm going to go home and look it up. I'm going to go look. It's not. You could find it with the Yumanim. You could find it. Where the Rebbe wrote this Remez, Tzadik. I think he even wrote him on a Mokker. Words brought to Chazal. There's 93 Kelim that were in the Beis HaMikdash. In other words, 93 years means 93 Kelim. So a pshetel I'm going to tell you. The Remez I'm going to say a pshat, but it's only a pshat. And I'll give you a hagdama. Yeah. When you do esrig, you do nanuim, right? When you shake the esrig, right? You do nanuim. How many nanuim are there? There are 18. 18 nanuim. Why? You have 6 directions. Mizrach, Ma'ariv, Tov and Tonam, Ma'ila Mata. That's 6. And each direction you shake, you put it that direction, and you bring it to your heart. Yeah? So first you do to the right, then you do to the left, then you do forward, then you do up, then you do down, and then you do back. Right? Yeah? I need you to shake your head. Yeah, thank you. I can't see you without my glasses. And you hold the esrog and the lulav with both hands. That's our minik. And the way you hold the esrog and the lulav is, you hold the lulav in your right hand and the whole esrog in your left hand. And the custom is that when you go the last 3, you do 3 to the right, 3 to the left, 3 forward, 3 up, 3 down, and 3 back. Yeah? So you do like this. Your heart, yeah, like this. Yeah? And then you go all the way to the back. The last one, the 18th nanua, you make 2 shinuyim. Number 1, you go all the way to the back. And number 2, you uncover more of the esrog. That's what it says in Sefer HaMenhagim. That when you do the 18th shakel, you have your hand on the lulav and the esrog. By the 18th one, you hold the esrog lower that you can see more of the top of the esrog. That's what Sefer HaMenhagim. And then the Rebbe writes, Yud Zayin Pa'omim Kelim. The 17 first times that you're shaking the lulav is kelim, and the 18th is oyer. Okay, now I don't know how many. is oir. 17 times is Caleb and the 18th is oir. Now I don't understand what these things mean. But I repeat them. It says in Sefer HaMenhagim. This is not exotica. This is in Sefer HaMenhagim. That's how you're supposed to do it. So the Yudzayin Pamim is Caleb, the 18th time is oir. Now, what does this mean? I don't know what it means. But the klal is, the way we understand it in Higoyin, it's like a candle. A candle has a cup, a candle has fuel, and the candle has a wick, and then the candle has fire. Now physically, when you have a candle, you make the cup, you put in the fuel, you put in the wick, and you light the fire. Spiritually, it says in Tanya, from the Zohar, you make the cup, you make the fuel, you provide the wick, and the Eibishter provides the fire. And the Eibishter providing the fire, v'shemen al reishcha lo yachsid. It says in Tanya, Shchinta de Shari al Reisha, right? Shlomo Malka Tzavach. Shlomo Melech is screaming that the Shemen al Reisha al Yachsid. Make sure you have enough Shemen. And what is the Shemen? Says the Zohar Uvdin Tovim, Maisim Tovim. This is the Shemen. I'm sorry. So that the oil should be Nimshach Milmaila. So you have a lot of examples for this. But I gave you the example from Esrik. That it says in the Minhagim that the first 17 shakes is Caleb. The 18th shake is oil. In other words, the first 17 shakes is our avodah. The 18th shake is a matana from the Eibishter. And there's other examples for this. You know, the 18th shake we're shaking with the koyach that the Eibishter gives rather than with our own koyachs. So I'm thinking this is the pshat. Tzadik Gimel Kalim Hoy B'Mikdash. In the Beis HaMikdash there's 93 Kalim. And the Rebbe connects it to 93 years, Tzadik Gimel Shona. Which means that for 93 years since you had Beis Tammuz, you have to make a Keli. But as soon as you have the 93 years, begins the 94th year. What's the 94th year? If 93 years is Kalim, the 94th year is Oir. Is Oir. Lichtigkeit, that comes from the Eibishter. Now again, how does that relate to Yud Beis Tammuz? The Nekuda of Yud Beis Tammuz is Mesiras Nefesh. Again, how do you eat Mesiras Nefesh? How do you understand Mesiras Nefesh? But the Rebbe connected Yud Beis Tammuz to many other things. Amongst the things to which the Rebbe connected Yud Beis Tammuz was, first of all, the idea of the Ispashus of Chassidus to the whole world. Instead of Chassidus being only in one country and in one city and in one group, it's Nimshach to the whole world. And another thing that the Rebbe spoke specifically b'negei to Yud Beis Tammuz is the Targum of Chassidus into other languages. The Rebbe said that one of the results, right, this Medrash says that when you squeeze an aleph, it gives you oil. So the Rebbe was squeezed, so it brings out more oil. In other words, there was a greater Gilui of Chassidus after Yud Beis Tammuz, just like there was a greater Gilui of Chassidus after Yud Kislev, so there's a greater Gilui of Chassidus after Yud Beis Tammuz. And the Rebbe said one of the examples, the Tosefes, and the Gilui of Chassidus that's associated with Yud Beis Tammuz, is the idea that now Chassidus began to be translated into many languages, not only into Yiddish, but into English and into Arabic and into French and into Italian and so many languages. Right. And the Rebbe spoke Nun Aleph also about Braille. Yes, that's correct. I remember that. So you could say Al Derech HaRemez, again, I'm just speaking words that the Rebbe wrote this. I'm going to look it up. Linadir. Over Shabbos. Sunday we'll have a class. I'll talk about it again. But the Rebbe wrote Tafshin Nun, Yesh Leimer Al Derech HaRemez. The Rebbe said it was 93 years since the Siyastis of Temchet Mimim. So the Rebbe wrote this is the from Kalim, Tzadik Gimel Kalim. So after Tzadik Gimel Kalim comes what? There's no more Kalim. Oh yeah. The Rebbe connected specifically to the Tzadik Gimel Kalim Hoye B'Mikdash. I'll save that for Sunday. Okay, so we were Yaitze, a Drash, mit a Remez, alle gute Sachen. Now let's learn the Maimer. Okay, let's learn a bisschen the Maimer. Okay? Rabbi said this is an easy Maimer and it's a very hard Maimer. I spent a lot of time preparing this Maimer. It's very easy, and you have no idea what the Rebbe wants. So it's so easy to read and to understand the words. But you learn the Maimer and you say, so what is the Rebbe saying? What does the Rebbe want? The Maimer is 9 pages. It's a very long Maimer. It's 9 pages. It's a long Maimer. And I sat and prepared. I prepared it twice. I prepared it earlier in the week, and then I finished it, and I came back this morning, and I prepared it a second time. So I'll tell you what I think the Maamar is about. The way I teach my Morim here is I don't necessarily go ala Seder. I'm not going to learn the Maamar in order. If you'll see inside your text, there's numbers. It goes from 1 until 24. Okay? No. 124. I'm going to be learning the Maamar not in the Seder that it's printed. I'm going to learning the Maamar in the Seder that I prepared. Let me tell you the background of the story. Tell you the story. It's a moidendike mais. The mais is that the Frierdiker Rebbe was put in jail. And he sat in jail for 18 days and 12 hours. The Frierdiker Rebbe counts the hours that he sat in the Shmalerka prison. And they tortured the Frierdiker Rebbe. They beat him makas retzach many times. The Frierdiker Rebbe's goof was destroyed. Mamish. They broke his goof. With them geschlagen, they hit him and they hit him and they hit him and they hit him. And a little bit it was his own fault. Because the Frierdiker Rebbe was incredibly stubborn. It was a big action. He wouldn't look at them in the eye. He wouldn't stand up for them. He would show them no covet and no fear. In principle. He spoke Davke in Yiddish. The Frierdiker Rebbe spoke a fluent Russian. He spoke Davke in Yiddish, and his whole hanhaga was, he told one of the interrogators, said to him, "Do you know where you are?" In the middle of a cross-examination. He says, "Yeah, I know where I am." The Torah, there's a din, a mitzvah, that every room that's daled al dal, you have to have a mezuzah. There's a few exceptions. A barn where you keep behemoths doesn't have to have a mezuzah. And a basic case, I am now in a place which is putter from a mezuzah. This is what he thought. This was his approach. They could have shot him on the spot, and this was his attitude. He was not gators. And for this, he got makis, klep. They tried to break him. They broke his goof. But you couldn't break his neshama. Impossible. Finally, Thursday, the Shchedish Tammuz, I just learned the Sikha last night from the Rebbe. Thursday, Shchedish Tammuz in the afternoon, they came to him. And if I recall correctly, they told the Frierdiker Rebbe to stand up. He said, "I'm not standing up." Now, there was an official law in the prison that any time they gave you an official hoyra'ah, you had to stand. It was a rule. When they were giving you official information, you had to get up. And the Rebbe said, "I'm not standing up for you." So they told him, "We'll hit you." So he said, "You hit me before you hit me again." And they beat him with a stick. And they left. They came back a while later and they told him again, "Stand up." He said, "I'm not getting up." So they told him, "We'll hit you." He said, So the Reitzeach was a Yid. He spoke Yiddish. He couldn't hit him anymore. He said to the Rebbe, "We want to give you good news." He says, "I'm not getting up for you." So they hit him again. And they left. They came back the third time. They had to get him to stand up. They had to get him to stand up. How do you get him to stand up? They told him to come into the office. Coming into the office is not covered. Getting up is covered. So he went into the office. Before he had a chance to sit down, they told him the Besura that he's free to go. You understand? This is why they hit him. It's a gewalt stellen for a Besura Teva. What was the Besura Teva? That the famous thing, the Rebbe said that he saw one line that was crossed out. He didn't want to say what it was. And the Rebbe said that he understood from the Rebbe the Shver that the reason he didn't want to say it, because since it was B'chaim Chayase Ba'al Modein of the Frierdiker Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe was physically alive. He didn't want to say about himself the Inyan von Hepech HaChayim, the opposite of life. Then there was a second line. It was written 10 years of slave labor, I think in Solovki, but I could be wrong. That was crossed out. And then there was a third line, 3 years of Golos and Kastrama, 3 years of exile and Kastrama. So they came to him Thursday afternoon. They told him to go home. He could spend 6 hours in his home. And then he has to leave by train to Kastrama. And they gave him 2 choices. He could travel on his own Eitzah, he could travel with his own expense, he could travel second class, whatever, Shenet, nicer accommodation, or the government will get him there. So the Rebbe said, "I have my own money, I'll get there myself." But they told him, yes, he can only stay in the house 6 hours and he has to leave. So we asked, when am I going to get to Kastrama? They told him Shabbos. And last night I learned to Sikha in Shul with my Chevre, that the Mashma says that he did it on purpose. That's what the guys were saying. They dafka did it in such a way. So the Rebbe said, I'm not leaving the prison. I'm not being Mechal Shabbos. Show my definition. Which got them even angrier. So there was a whole new diyun, and was decided that he'll stay 2 more days in jail. Friday, Shabbos, Sunday. Which was pekuach nefesh mamish. In those prisons, quote, accidents happened every day. By mistake. Mit gefallen von da, mit gefallen von dort. Was a Mesiris never repelled. The Rebbe asked Rabbi Alocha, he was not allowed to do it. And the Rebbe explains why he was allowed to do it. Anyway, bottom line, Lepoyel, Sunday, he left to Kastrama. Sunday is Gimel Tammuz. That's the story. In other words, Gimel Tammuz should have been Reish Chodesh Tammuz, but because the Rebbe didn't want to travel Shabbos, it was delayed till Sunday, Gimel Tammuz. So he went home. Gimel Tammuz, of course. And he spent a few hours at home, and he gave instructions that nobody should come to the train. Nobody should come to the train. L'chatchila, they came to Reish Chodesh. Reish Chodesh is 2 days. Lamed Sivan, Thursday, to tell him that he's free to go. And he said he's not leaving because he doesn't want to travel on Shabbos. So they postponed it to Gimel Tammuz. Sunday. A kid said, he said nobody should come to the train. He came to the train, there were thousands of people. Thousands of people came. So the Rebbe said, I couldn't not say anything. It was a time of Mesiras Nefesh. B'poyel.
Who said nobody should come to
the Friedrich Rebbe said that nobody should came, and thousands of people came.
So they didn't.
A kashef amais. Ein sholim sheilot al sipur. That's the fact to life. So the Friedrich Rebbe said, I saw the people, I couldn't keep quiet. I had to say something. So he says, I stepped forward on the platform and he spoke a sikha. The sikha is probably 5 minutes. He wrote the sikha himself. And it's printed in the Kuntas Peizayin. Kuntas of Maamar Peizayin has the sikha in it. And he began with the words, Yehi Hashem Elokainu imonu, kasher hoya maviseinu, al yazvenu, al yachenu. And then he explained the pasuk. And he said that just like the Eibush was with our parents who were by Mesiras Nefesh, we daven to the Eibush that the Eibush should be with us also. Al yazvenu, al yachenu. And the Friedrich Rebbe explained the pasuk, and he spoke about the Inyan Mesiras Nefesh. And of course, the famous words from that Sikha were that nit mit unser Rotzen seien wir gegangen in Golus und übergegeben geworden in Shibud Malchus und nit mit unser Rotzen weil wir rausgehen von Golus. We didn't go into Golus by our own choice. We were not given over to the enslavement of other people by our own choice. The Eibishter, God Baruch Hu, the Eibishter sent us into Golus, and the Eibishter is going to redeem us like the Mashiach Tzedkei Mehed Min Wamin. And then he said, aber das darfen alle Völker asher al pnei ha'adama wissen gewiss. But this has to be known by all the nations of the face of this earth. Nur unser Gufe ist an übergegeben geworden Gottes. Und zu Shibud Malchus, I don't remember the words exactly, dead, so to speak, disposed. Our Guf was given over to Golus and to the other nations enslaving us. When it comes to the Yiddish and the Neshama, sage mir mit die 1000-jährige jüdische Stolz, al tigu bim shichoy of nevei al tadei. When it comes to the neshama, we say, don't touch my Mashiach, don't touch my Nevi'im. In other words, a guy has no shlita over the neshama of a yid. This was the sikha that the Rebbe said then. And then, of course, he left Sunday. And he,
On the platform of the train,
he said the sikha on the platform at the train station. Right before he left. Then he got on the train and he came to Castellam and he registered. Every Wednesday he had to register again because Wednesday was the beginning of the week. That's what I remember. I hope I'm not making a mistake. I've been saying this for 25 years. People are quoting my stories. And if I tell a story incorrectly, it's not good. That's how I remember it. That every Wednesday was like now in America Monday. He had to go register. So he registered when he arrived. He arrived Mustama Tuesday morning. The next day was the beginning of the week. He registered again Wednesday. The following week, Tuesday was Yud Beis Tammuz. He was taking a spatzir. He was walking in the street with Rabbi Chaim Altes. And he met somebody from the office of the KGB, who was overseeing the people who were exiled. And he told him that a cable arrived, a telegram arrived from Moscow, that the Rebbe is free to go. But that since the office is closed, he's going to have to wait till the next day. where he'll register, and then they'll let him leave. So that day, Yud Beis Tammuz, the Rebbe told the Sikha how 3 different reactions. Rebbe L'chaim turned white and red. Rebbe Chol Dvorkin ran around the house with a bottle of mashke singing Niet Niet Nikavo, and there was a 9-year-old boy, a local boy in Kastrama. He didn't understand what was going on, but he understood that it was a good thing, so he walked on his hands. He walked on his hands on top of a fence to celebrate the Rebbe's Geula. The next day, Wednesday, Yud Gimel Tammuz, the Rebbe registered, and he left. And the famous words were, he sent a telegram to Leningrad, we'll be home for Shabbos, B'li Pirsum. The Rebbe Tzanchai Mushka always used to quote these 2 words. They didn't want Chassidim to come. Medayin and Shtub of Shabbos, we'll be home for Shabbos, B'li Pirsum, that the Anash, the Rebbe didn't want what happened by the train station should happen again. B'li Pirsum. The Rebbe arrived home on Friday, which was Tetzvav Sivan, Tetzvav Tammuz, which is why the Rebbe very often made Fabrenganish and Tetzvav. The Rebbe considered Tetzvav Tammuz a Yom Tov. Because even though Friday there's no Kriyas HaTeirah, there's no Birchas HaGoymo, but halachically he was able to say HaGoymo, because he was Chozer Leisani, Tetzvav Sivan, Tammuz. Shabbos, Tezayin Tammuz, Erev Shoseh B'Tammuz, there was a Fabrengin, the Rebbe made a Birchas HaGoymo, and the Rebbe said a Maamar Chassidus, and so forth and so on. This is the story. But Gimel Tammuz is a very important part of this whole Sipur, because that's when he left his jail cell, where his life was in certain danger, and he went off to Golus, where he was not able to do his holy work, but at least his life was not in a sakona. The story is known that the Frierdiker Rebbe said to Rebbe L'chaim, when the Rebbe was in Kastrama, he was in Kastrama for how long? For 10 days, 9 days. He turned to Rebbe L'chaim Altois, and he looked at his hands, and he meant like this. As ich kann nicht schreiben wegen Tashbar, was darf ich haben in der Hand? If I cannot write about Tineke Shol Beis Rabban, why do I need hands? Frierdiker Rebbe said. As ich kann nicht schreiben wegen Tashbar, was darf ich haben in der Hand? If I can't write about Tineke Shol Beis Rabban, why do I need hands? A word from a Rebbe. So our Rebbe made Yehi Hashem Elokainu into a Maamar. Even though it was only a Sikha, the Frierdiker Rebbe said a Sikha. And he started it with the Pasuk Hashem Elokainu. The Rebbe made it into a Maamar. And the Rebbe probably a half a dozen times. There must be 6 Maimorim of the Rebbe. Muga, one of them is even Muga. On this Pasuk, Yehi Elokainu Imonu, Kasher Hoya Maveseinu Al Yazveinu Al Yichein. This is from Tafshin Lamed Ches. We're learning this year in the Seder, Besmedish Nashon Bonus, learning all Maimorim of Tafshin Lamed Ches. This is part of our Seder Alimut. This is part of our regular learning. So we're learning this Maamar. Now, I prepared the Maamar. And like I told you before, on the one hand, the Maamar seems very easy, and on the other hand, you don't know what the Maamar wants. So I'm going to tell you how I understand it and how I'm going to teach it to you. The Maamar is going to take 2 classes. We're going to start it today, and Sunday the second class. The first class will probably be a Fabring of Yud Beis Tammuz, the Pashtus, and the second hour on Sunday, we're going to learn the second half of the Maamar, which is really most of it. Today we're going to learn a small part of the Maamar, and Sunday we're going to learn more of the Maamar. The Maamar is based on this pasuk. I'll read it in Jewish. Yehi Hashem Elokainu Imonu. We say it every single day. Before Shel Shel Yom, we say this pasuk. Yehi Hashem Elokainu Imonu. The Eibusha should be with us. Kasher Hoya Maveseinu, as he was with our fathers. Al Yazveinu V'Al Yicheinu. He shouldn't abandon us, and he shouldn't forget us. And in the Targum it says Al Yazveinu means he shouldn't forget us. V'Al Yicheinu means he shouldn't be far from us. That's how the Targum translates these words, right? So the Rebbe in our Maamar says, wait a minute, what is this pasuk saying? A Yid is davening to the Eibishter. A Yid is davening to the Eibishter. What is he davening to the Eibishter? That the Eibishter should be with him. So the Rebbe says, wait a minute. A Yid has to daven to the Eibishter, that the Eibishter should be with him? A Yid and the Eibishter are one. And the Rebbe brings a second pasuk. And the second pasuk is, Ki chelek havaya ame Yankov Chav Nachalos. Ki chelek Hashem ame. A Yid is a chelek. A Yid is a piece of the Eibishter. The Rebbe doesn't bring the second half of the pasuk, so let's leave it. Okay. So the Rebbe, what the Rebbe does in this Maamar is he brings the Maamar from Frierdiker Rebbe, which goes on the pasuk. Yehi Hashem Elokainu Imonu Kasher Hoya Maveseinu Al Yazveinu V'Al Yicheinu. And this is not in the Frierdiker Rebbe. This is just our Rebbe. He juxtaposes it. He compares it and contrasts it to the pasuk Yechelek Hashem Amen. What's the difference between Yehi Hashem Elokainu and Yehi Hashem Elokainu Imonu. What's the difference? The difference is Yehi Hashem Elokainu is a uvda, it's a fact. A yid is a piece of the Eibishter. Yehi Hashem Elokainu Imonu is a tefillah that Hashem should be with us. So the Rebbe says, before you start to talk about Yehi Elokainu Imonu, that you're davening to the Eibishter, the way the Rebbe explains it in the Maimon is that Hashem should help us in our avodah, and Hashem helping us in our avodah has two things b'klolos. Yehi Hashem Elokainu Imonu, that's one thing. That's another thing. But in the pasuk, we're davening to Hashem, help me. You're davening to Hashem, don't forget me. So the Rebbe says, wait a minute, before you daven to Hashem, help me. Before you daven to Hashem, don't forget me, there is the fact that a Yid and the Eibishter are one. In other words, I'll say it now backwards. The first truth is, Ki chelik ad Hashem ama, Yid and Eibishter are one. A Yid is a chelik of the Eibishter. You'll see it inside soon. Once you have that, now comes the second step. Now that we know that a Yid is a chelik of Hashem, now comes Avodah. But in that order, in that Seder, it's not the other way. First you serve the Eibishter and then you're chelik Havaya, but exactly the opposite. Number one, chelik ad Hashem ama. A Yid is a piece of Eibishter. Finished. Fact. Uvda. Number two, after we understand the inyan of Yehi Hashem Elokainu, then you can have this minded that a Yid has to serve, also has to work, also has to serve the Eibishter, and in his work of serving the Eibishter, there's close two inyanim. Yehi Hashem Elokainu kasher hayim aviseinu was one inyan, al yazveinu al yichenu was the second inyan. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn the Maimon not the way the Maimon is written, but we're going to learn it in these two parts. We're going to start from the middle. We're going to first of all learn the Yehi Hashem Elokainu part. That's what we're going to do today. And in Mitzvah on Sunday, we're going to do the Yehi Elokainu Imonu. Okay, so if somebody wants to ask a question and make a comment, now is a good time. Otherwise, we'll learn inside. Okay, I'll tell you, I'll help you find it. Okay, we're good? So let's start. I read the pasuk one more time. Yehi Hashem Elokainu Imonu. The Eibishter should be with us. Kasher hoyam aviseinu, as he was with our fathers. Al yazveinu al yichenu. He shouldn't abandon us and he shouldn't be far from us. And if you see on the top, I wrote Aleph Beis Gimel. Yehi Hashem Elokainu Imonu. The Rebbe connects Tanech Hashem Elokecha. Al yazveinu al yichenu. The Rebbe connects Kilayitish ad Hashem Amiv and Nachalos Yazav. And the Rebbe says, I'm reading inside now. Shazehu apasuk. This is the pasuk. Shaki Sherbal Hagiyud, the Fried, the Rebbe Bal Hagula connects in Gimel Tammuz. Sha'amrei Oz, the Fried, the Rebbe quoted this pasuk on that date, Sunday, Gimel Tammuz, in the train station. It's explained very elaborately in the Kuntresim. Exactly what he said. Now, Rabbi, I'm going to ask you to turn to page Shin Mem Vav. Number 2. Yeah? We have Yehi Hashem Elokainu Imonu kasher hayim aviseinu adven yichenu, which you'll see on Sunday is the tefillah for Ezer in avodah. That's what the Rebbe teaches it. We're asking Hashem to help us serve Him. So the Rebbe begins Pei Gimel with a shaila. Al pi yadua. We all know sheneisef al inyan al avakoshav tefillah, that in addition to davening to the Eibishter and asking the Eibishter that the Eibishter should help us do avodah. We have to do something. We have to make a keli which comes before the tefillah. If we want the Eibush to help us do avodah, there's an inyan of keli which comes before this tefillah. Move on as differ understood. There's something else. Which comes before lebakoshu tefillah. See, so I'm learning the Maimon not in the Seder that the Rebbe said it, but in the Seder of the Inyan. Ubehegdim. So what comes before? If you're asking the Eibush to help you do avodah, make a keli. What is that keli? Hadi yog b'mashakosu. The Rebbe has a kasha. It says in the Apostle, He ad Hashem Elokainu Imonu. The Eibush should be with us. I have a pasha to kasha. Yashna in Yanai Yeser. There's something much higher. B'hakesher v'hashayches, and the tie and the connectedness. Shel b'nei Yisrael l'makadosh baruch hu between Yid and the Eibishter. Shalei aloshen imanu, when you say Hashem should be with us, moira Hashem shnei, and Yarim Nifradim, there's two separate things. The Eibishter is one thing, a Yid is something else. Ela shalei acher is a misachtim, then Yid and the Eibishter become one. Ba'oifen shad Hashem Elokainu nasi imad, the Eibishter is with us. The truth is, yeshna inyan aliyah, there's something before that's higher than this. Like it says in the Apostle, ki chelek havaya amei. Not that a Yid is connected to the Eibishter, but there is a piece of the Eibishter. Like it says in Tanya, chelek elokami mal mamish. Okay, now I'm skipping 2 lines. 6 lines on top of the page, end of the line. It says the Rebbe Shazehu, this second idea of ki chelek Hashem amei, the thing you have to understand about it is that in chelek havaya amei there's no avodah. It's a fact. A Yid is a shtik Eibishter. That is higher and before the tefillah of Yehi Hashem Elokainu Imanu. It's infinitely higher, incomparably higher. From the idea of Yehi Hashem Elokainu, that a Yid davens and says me as an entity which is separate from the Eibishter, and I'm asking the Eibishter to be with me in my Avedis Hashem. But I just said in the bottom of the previous page that even for the idea of Kechelek Hashem Amei, there's something you have to do to make a Keli. So what the Rebbe wants to say is Azoy. The first issue is the second inyan is that even though it's true that a Yid is a Chelek Elokami Mal Mamish, a Shtik Eibishter, even for this there has to be a Keli. Where do we see this? This is what every Yid says, Adeshem Menos Chelki V'Koisi. The Eibishter is the portion of my Chelek, the same word, Chelek. And my cup, Ata Doimech Geroli, you support my Goydel. Now, on the next page, the Rebbe brings the Rambam. You'll see it inside momentarily. The Rambam writes in Sefer Shmita B'Yaz, one of the most famous Rambams. Ich meine, the Welt weiß, the Rambam ist koch stark in dem Rambam. The very end of Hilchos Shmita, the Rambam talks about the Leviim, which is connected to Parshas Koirach. Last week's Parsha, Gimel Tammuz Parshas Koirach. The Rambam, the Koyanim, in Parshas Koirach, the whole Arich is about Koyanim, and Shvi, that's a small Aliyah, is about the Leviim, Meiser Rishon, and Trumas Meiser, and so on. In that Parsha Shvi, it says, Ba'ad Som Moitincha, that the Koyanim and the Leiliyah, the Koyanim, and the Leviim, Chelek. Koyanim and Leviim do not get a Chelek in Yisrael. Why? Ani hu chelkela chelkcha v'nachaloska. Hashem says, I'm your Chelek. I'm your Nachla. So the Rambam, at the end of Hilchos Shmita, the last program of Hilchos Yovel, he's talking about the Leviim. He talks about different things with the Leviim. And he writes that the Leviim don't have a piece of Eretz Yisrael because the Eibush is their Chelek. And then the Rambam says, Lo Shevet Levi Bilvad. Not only Shevet Levi, but Kol Boy Elam. And Boy Elam and the Rambam means Goyim, not just Yid. Any human being on this earth who decides Lihibodel Mihevle Hazman, to separate himself from the Nashkeiten of the time and to become or Mishoris Lifnei Hashem, Hareizim Miskadish Kodesh Kadoshim, he's in a level of Kodesh Kadoshim, like it says, Adeshem and not this pasuk, Hashem and Nos Chelki V'Koisi Atatei Me'Geroli. That's how the Rambam Hilchos Shmita be able to finish it with this pasuk. So what does this pasuk say? This pasuk says that in the word Chelek there's two parts. Number one, Chelek Elokami Mal Mamish. A Yid is a piece of Eibishter. That's a fact. And number two, there is a Yid who volunteers, who says, I'm going to be a Levi. I'm going to be a Mishoris. And I think he brings over there the Ma'aseh. David HaMelech was wearing an ephod body, that there was a special ephod that the Mishorim used to wear. It's not the ephod of the Kohen Gadol, it was a siman of Sheiros, of service. That's how the Rambam finishes Hilchos Shmita V'Yevel. The end of Sefer Zroyim is Hilchos Shmita, and the end of Hilchos Shmita is about this. That not only Shevet Levi, anybody who says, I'm not going to live a life for Gashmias, I'm going to decide to be a servant of the Eibishter, Hareizim Eskadesh Kedesh Kadoshim, and he brings this pasuk, Ani Chalka V'Nachaloscha, and then he finishes with this pasuk, Adeshem and Aschalki V'Kesi Atebel. So the Rebbe says like this: before you can start saying Yehi Hashem Elokainu, you have already two things. Number one, Chelik Hashem Amma, Yid is a piece of Eibishter. Number two, for Chelik Hashem Amma, you have to make a Keli. What's the Keli? Adishem enos Chelki. You'll see in the next Pedic, in the next paragraph, the Rebbe is going to explain what a Yid has to do to be that Chelik. Number three is Yehi Hashem Elokainu. After a Yid is first of all a Chelik Elokah. Number two, he volunteers to be Nachalosei Shal HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Then comes the tefillah that in doing the work practically, Yehi Hashem Elokainu Imon. So you understand, in the Friedrich Rebbe's Maamar, this doesn't exist. The Friedrich Rebbe's Maamar only goes on Yehi Hashem Elokainu. The Rebbe says, I want you to know that there's a Hagdama to Yehi Hashem Elokainu. And the Hagdama to Yehi Hashem Elokainu is not in the Maamar of the Friedrich Rebbe. The Rebbe adds it. And he says that in this Hagdama itself, there is the idea that a Yid is a Chelik Elokah Mimal Mamish, whether he does something or he does nothing. But then there is an avodah of Hashem not chalki v'koisi at the Tamir Geroli, a Yid who becomes a Mishoris Lifnei Hashem. Okay, so now, v'ha'inyin hu. So what's the Rebbe going to explain? The Rebbe is going to say that the Yid is a Chelik Elokah Mimal Mamish, is the Hagdama to the avodah of being a Chelik Elokah Mimal Mamish, and the avodah of being a Chelik Elokah Mamish is a Hagdama to the tefillah of Yehi Hashem Elokainu Imonu Kasher Hayem Aviseinu Al Yazeinu Al Yicheinu. And we're going to read it inside. For Ha'inyan, who says, the Rebbe, I got 10 minutes and I need an hour. Verstehst? He says in the Pasuk, Cheli Ad Hashem Chalki Alaya Menafshi. My neshama says Hashem is my Cheli. Now you may recognize this Pasuk. This is the famous Maamar which Ariel I taught in Beis Medrash Noshim Abonis on Zoom. Yer Aleph Nisan time before Pesach. B'yei Mashtei Yoser Tavshel Lamed Aleph, and the Rebbe brings the famous Medrash. Second line, Isa b'Medrash, it says in Medrash, Marshal Melech. That's example to a king. Shenichnas leMedina, comes into a country. V'hoyim educhsim v'ifrechin v'startelitin v'chuli. He comes to live with all of his sorim, all of his big machers. Chadamar anonasiv duchsan lagavi. One person says, I'm going to host. I'm going to be the machnas oirech for the duke. Chadamar anonasiv ifrechin lagavi. In other words, I'm going to be the host for ifrechin. I don't know what ifrechin is. Chadamar anonasiv istatelitin lagavi. The third one says, I'm going to host istatelitin, all different types of ministers. Zog de medish haya pikech echad l'sham. There's one pikech, one smart guy, and he says, Amar anonasiv malka. I'm hosting the king. I'm hosting the king. Finished. The kulum is halfin. Everybody is replaceable. The duchs is replaceable. The ifrach is replaceable. The startelit is replaceable. The melech is not replaceable. Umesayim adahu deksiv, like it says in the pasuk, chelka d'shem amanafshi. That a yid says, Havai is chelki. What's my chelik the Eibishter? So the word chelik elakami mal mamish, and the word chelik avaya ame is linked to this. That the choice of the pikeach to say anon the siv malka means the Eibishter is my chelik. And of course the klotz kash is, you have to be smart to choose the king. You have to be smart to choose the king over the minister of finance or defense or health or education. You have to be smart to choose the melech. And that's what the Maamar is. I'm skipping 2 lines. 6 lines from the bottom of the page. You have to be smart to choose the king. How do you move in Bepashtas? It's self-understood. The king appoints all of his ministers. When you take the king, everything underneath the king is included. What's the chokhmah? So now, in our Maamar, there's 1 page. In the Maamar Yehi Hashem, there's 10 pages. The Rebbe says 3 or 4 different levels of the pichas of the Bikeach. The Rebbe's Maamar, Yehi Hashem Tavshel Lamed Aleph, is based on this. You look in footnotes 46 and 43, 45, 46, 47. He's mitzayin to all the Maimorim that are the source of the Maamar, and he also mentions the Yehi Hashem. What the Rebbe asks is, you have to be smart to choose the king? And he says yes. And he gives 3 or 4 different answers. Okay? Here he brings a number of them. One of them is Poshet. The Sarem represent Klippah. The Eibush represents Kedusha. What's the difference between Klippah and Kedusha? Klippah is magnet, for free. Klippah, you don't have to do any avodah. It's for free. So a lot of people say, I'll be involved with the Sarim, I'll get for free. Okay, I won't live forever, but I'll enjoy today. Yeah. The Pikei Chechet says, no. I'm going to connect to the Melech. And this is Kiddush. And this is going to require Avodah. Because it's forever. It's forever. And that's a Pikchas. To decide that I'm going to be Mevated on today's Gishmak Begashmias for Kulon concerned with enjoying today. I'm concerned with Lamed Chalav. I want to be forever. Verstehst? This is the first level. But then the Rebbe says that's not enough, and he moves higher. He says that the Malachim, the Sodar represent the Malachim. And with the Malachim you could negotiate. I'll give you this, and you'll give me this. The way the Mashal is understood is Poshet. If you bring the Minister of Finance into your house, you can get him a business favor. If you bring the Minister of Infrastructure into your house, you can get a favor when it comes to in Yonim of real estate and things like this. Yeah? From the king you don't get no favors. The king doesn't give out favors. In other words, the Pikchas is, I would rather host the king even though I can't bribe him. I can't get a favor from him. Rather than host the other Sodim from which I can get a favor. That's a second level. And the final level that Rebbe says is, you don't even want to be involved with the Sfiris of Atzilas that are Relakus. Because that's Hishtalshalos. The way the Maamar of Tovshan Lamed Aleph finishes, Anonisiv Malkamid, I don't even want to relate to the Eibusher through Sfiris. I want to relate to Atzmas and Mahuz directly. And the Rebbe said that requires an unbelievable Pikchas. If I'm not mistaken, there's 4 different levels. I'm not telling you all 4 because I don't remember them. My point is, there's a long Arichas and a Maamar from the Rebbe, a Mugadik Maamar, which we learned on Zoom 3 months ago, where the Rebbe explains 3 or 4 different levels in the Pikchas of the Pikei. Here the Rebbe brings only 2. Okay? Umavur, but it's at the bottom of the page. The first Pikchas is the Av Shad Duchsim is Mana de Amelch. It's true that the king appoints the Duchsim. Mikomo kam Tivin Shal Lagabam Leitzorach HaBittel. When you're involved with a minister, you don't have to have so much bittul. V'yesedim is it moreover. Kivin shashbo misham be'efen dechinam and amitzvus. It's klipa. Klipa is chinam. Says the Rebbe Hareze koilas efsharis. It includes the possibility. Turn the page. Shin memches now. Liishar b'mitziyuse v'yeshuse to remain a yesh and to get shefa klipa. Lochen yochaliyas. There's people who say. I'll be involved with the mazolas and the kecholim. It's like a klipa, but it's magnet free. This is such a strong taina. Even Yidden that are called tzaddikim. You have to be smart to say, I am a vater on something which is easier and more expedient and more pleasurable today, and has less requirements to have a relationship with the king. Not to suffice with lights and amshochas. 4 lines from the top of the page. Ella no nisiv malka. I want a relation with the Melech, and he brings the famous Teres Abal Shem Tov. Can you do a Teres Abal Shem Tov on the pasuk? It's a famous mashal. I told you all the time that the Baal Shem Tov says a king invites a bunch of people into the palace. A bunch. He says, come into my throne room, into the Cheder HaKisei, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So 9 o'clock in the morning, they all walk into the palace. Everyone has a different umnis. One is a musician. So he stops to listen to the music of the palace. The other one is an artist. He stops to look at the art. He's tight till 3 o'clock, I have time. One of them understands architecture. So he's looking at the building. Another one understands windows. And everyone stops. One guy is good for nothing, a take of kaparas. He has no milas. So he doesn't appreciate music and art and architecture and garnished. 9:15, he's in the king's room. He walks straight to the whole palace. He doesn't get distracted by this beauty and that chokhmah and the third maile. He walks straight into the Melech. And when he walks into the Melech says, you I'm waiting for. I'm looking for that person who's not nispol from chitzeniyas, he wants only malki. So the Baal Shem Tov says, Tfilah la'ani, the poor person, or the person who's very rich, who sees himself as poor, that's not nispol from a yonim of ashirus, beautiful music, beautiful art, beautiful architecture, is lifnei havaya yishpech sichei, he comes atzmas ein sof. So the Rebbe says, this Teres Abba Shem Tov is the same as this Medrash on non-Nesiv Malka. You can make cheshbonis that say, the Eibush is like a Gavaldike Chelik, but the Eibush you can't bribe, the Eibush you have bittel, and nothing is for free. And you can make a cheshbon, I'll get involved with the duch, with the ifrich, with Ister Talut, Zog the Chacham, Zog the Pikeach, no, I want the Melech. That's the first explanation. Okay? Umamshech behamedish. Number 6. Hatam lazeh. Why? The kulam is chalfun or malkeinim is chalif. All of the others will eventually go away. They're not forever. And the king is forever. And the kol ha'aretz v'hamshochat ha'aretz v'chashochat achil yenes ha'ifin shebehem shayach behem chilaf. There's a possibility for change. And then the Rebbe brings the Lashon HaRambam shekol ha'ivin nifsin. Anything which has a beginning has an end. Anything which was created is going to eventually die, unless the Eibush gives it a koyach that it should last forever. So everything in the world but the Eibush is temporary. So the Pikeach's cheshbon is, it's so much more pleasant for the moment to be involved with the ifrich, with the istartilut, with the duchs, but it's temporary. It's mischalef. Malka einim mischalef. I am going to sacrifice today for tomorrow. I want to tell you a maisa, okay? It'll take me a few more minutes. I'm moedendike maisa. This maisa is printed in what's called Masa Ha'achrein from Rabbi Shir Munchan Olav Shalom. Of course, he didn't make up the story. It's brought in all kinds of makoides. But the story is a toichni is the maisa. At the end of the life of the Alter Rebbe, there were gezeres in Russia that Yidden had to give very, very large taxes, a lot of money. It was pashut gezela from the government. So amongst the tzaddikim, there was a machlekes. Some tzaddikim said they shouldn't pay the tax, and they should fight it using koiches of tzaddikim. Tzaddikim koiches al yein. Alter Rebbe said, no, pay the tax. And he said as follows: whenever the Melech of Poland asks Yidden for money, they have to give. The part of Russia where the Alter Rebbe lived used to be Poland. So the Alter Rebbe said, when the king of Poland asks for money, you have to give him. Why? So Alter Rebbe said, because hundreds of years before, when Yidden left Ma'arav Europa, Western Europe, France, England, Germany, and these places, none of the nations wanted to take the Yidden. None of the Ummah, means none of the Malachim, Lamaila, one of the Duchsin, the Istartilut, the Ifrachin wanted to take the Yidden. Why? It's in the Chitas of today, with Rashi. They come to a place, Hashem Bada Janchene Ve'ein Ime El Nechad, they enjoy everybody else's bounty, and they use up all the wealth of the country, and they move to the next country. Chutzpah, Yidden come to a place, that place becomes the most comfortable, richest place in the whole world, and when it's used up, the Yidden move. So none of the Goyim want to take Yidden. So the Tsar of Poland said, I'll take the Jews, I'll take them. In other words, the Tsar of Poland made the cheshbon over here, I'll take one good day now, and I'll be mavated on Anias later on. But there was a condition. The condition is that Yidden have to give the Tsar of Poland a pile, a gal, a mountain of gold as tall as a sus v'roichvei, a horse and a rider. That's a big pile of gold. So the Alter Rebbe said, any time Poland asks Yidden for money, they have to give, because it was on this night that the Malach, the Tsar of Poland, let Yidden into the country. So trach for the tutzach. Every nation has a Malach l'mayla. That Malach is governing that country. The Malach of Poland said, you know what, let's Poland be rich for a few hundred years. Then we'll be schnodders, but the Revaila will have a good day. And on this basis, he took the Yidden with a condition that Yidden are going to have to give. Fine, this is a story which is brought down about the Alter Rebbe. It's not brought from Friedrich Rebbe. So you could say 100% it's true, you cannot say. But there's a korah, the big svod that the Maises Emes, and it has a Teichen Pnimi. It's a Ruchni is the Kamaise. You see, but the Yid doesn't say that. Don't give me a good day today and tomorrow send me flying. I'll suffer today, I'll suffer tomorrow. I want to be in a Maimed Amatzah of Lo Mischalef. I want to be a Nitzchi. And the Nitzchis is only a non-nesiv malka, kedusha, bittel, avoida. Nothing is for free. And that's the taich chelke avaya menafsh. That even though a yid is a chelik elekami malmamesh, ki chelik avaya ama, yid is a shtikel eibishter, but there's a keli for that shtikel eibishter. And the keli for that shtikel eibishter, chelke Hashem menafshi as a non-nesiv malka. Right? Ata chelki v'kaisi ata teimer giroli. A yid serves the Eibishter. That's the keli for the inyan of chelik elakami malma. And the Rebbe finishes with the second svara. V'kivan shakulu mischalf. Since everything changes, v'rak malkeinu mischalef. Only the melech is forever. L'cheina afilu b'nyani kedusha einei seimich. Not only does he not rely on Kalipa, not only does he not rely on the Malachim, he doesn't even rely on the Sfiris. The Einim is tapik b'nyam shochet v'chulu. You can't titillate him, you can't buy him off. Even with the lakus of Sfiris, Anonasiv Malka, the Alter Rebbe said, Dich alein, atzmus amos. So the Rebbe says, this is the Isarusa, the Latata, for the Chelik Hashem, Chelik Nuch, and it's the Hakdama to Yehi Hashem Elokainu imonu kasher hayim aviseinu advim al yitchein. Let's keep reading. Dalet. There's the kasha there, Pashat Shavua. Pashat was Kairach. I told this to you before, yeah? Shakadosh Baruch Hu Eimer the Eibush says to the Keinim Alaviyah, Manicha l'chav nachaloscha, I'm your chelik and I'm your nachal. You don't have a chelik in Eretz Yisrael, you serve the Eibush. This was said to Aaron's children. How do you do a psak din Rambam? Again, I told you this Rambam before. The lay shevet levi b'vav, not only shevet levi elakol ish every person. And again, in this Rambam, he says the words boy oilam. Boy oilam includes goyim lahavdu. Ashenod v'ruch Yesu who donates his spirit lehibadil to be removed from the heavenly azman. Lam made lifnei adesham the shor sel of the stand for Hakadosh Baruch Hu as his servant and as his slave. Hinigam all love on him as well. Koi have tacha b'dibur shel Hakadosh Baruch Hu shechashav ma'aseh. You have Hashem's promise, which He said, and the Eibishter's words are like a ma'aseh b'peil. Ani chelkecha v'nachalosecha. The Eibish says, I'm your chelik, I'm your nachalo. V'yi adeshem chelke v'nachaloseh. And again, it's the same pasuk. Adeshem and chelke v'kesi ata teimech yirol. So chelik elakami malmamish is a fact. But chelik elakami malmamish is a keli. The keli v'chelik elakami malmamish is chelke havaya manafsh. Anonesiv malka l'gavi. And then he explains. Now the Rebbe, you see the Rebbe's Avos Yisrael. She'inyan zed, the idea that the keli for being a chelik elakami mal mamish is to say chelke adeshem omer nafshe non nesiv malka. I'm not nispol from klipa. I'm not nispol from alochim. I'm not even nispol from svidus. I want do dichalein. I want atzmus hus. Says the Rebbe is shayech leirak eitzel bishan not veruchli but l'choluk l'shan Rambam. It doesn't only mean those special people who sacrificed the whole life for the Eibishter. Elokainu eitzel kol echad mi Yisrael. Every yid has this. Why? Miyad bepam harishena shaleimid inyan b'teiru makayim mitzvah achas. The first time a yid learns one pasuk in Torah or does one mitzvah, he's already chelke shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It says in Tanya, it says Perek Meval. This is one of the most underemphasized pieces in the whole Tanya. The end of chapter 41, it says, anytime any yid, it's inside the Tanya, does any mitzvah, it's mesiras nefesh, like when a person's passes leave. In other words, anytime, it's Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, anytime any yid does any mitzvah, it's mesiras nefesh, like his neshama is leaving the guf. Because you're thinking about your body. But Alter Rebbe says it's very simple. I'm giving the Eibishter 5 minutes. I could use those 5 minutes for myself. And I'm giving to the Eibishter. That's mesiras nefesh. It's not a big deal. Alter Rebbe says Lashon Perek Tezayin. Oyev is gufa yoyse. The bottom line, he loves his guf more. And he's putting aside his guf. The Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, anytime any yid does any mitzvah, it's mesiras nefesh. So any yid does one mitzvah, he's already creating the keli for chelik havaya amei, which is chelke adeshem omer nafshi, anonesiv malka l'gabi. Va'api amavor betanya. And then the Rebbe continues. We know it says in Tanya Perek Kavhei. Anytime you learn to do a mitzvah, that is a yichud which is forever. Nimtza, therefore, every yid learns Torah, those mitzvahs once. He is automatically on this madreg of not veruchili badil v'chuli, and he's a chelik of the Eibishter chelki v'gerich atem agirol. Kechol hapratim shebedivrei Rambam anal, all the things that Rambam says. V'gam lamato, not only l'maylo is a yichud nitzchi, but even lamato. Harekiv and shemitzvi lashon tafta v'chibra, mitzvah makes it eternal bound with the Eibishter. Haine shemiskash and matzmusa yizbarach, he became keket atmusam hus. Harei who every yid is, who learned Torah once, or did mitzvahs once. B'maymedu matzah de lamed lifnei ad Hashem. He's standing in front of the Eibishter. Umitzad maymedu matzah zeh, because of this, nasa etzla in the chelek ad Hashem ame. He is a part of the Eibishter. Chelek Elokainu mal mamish. Ani chelcha v'nachaloscha. And he adds two more words. Number one, be'efen goloi, and number two, be'efen nitzchi. You see, I circled. Any yid who does one mitzvah, this is the Rebbe speaking, I'm just reading and translating. This that the Rambam writes, that Niskadish Kedish Kadosh, because he made a decision, libodol mehevlei azman, and to be loy shevet levi bilvad, but to be in that class of people who say, chelke avaya omra nafshi, anon esiv malkul gabi, goes on any yid who learned Torah and did mitzvahs once in his life. It's ba'efin golu, that means lamata, it's a yichud nitzchi, and lamayla, it's for sure a yichud nitzchi. And then the Rebbe continues, number 9. And once you become chelke shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, nasa etzlei, klolos ha'yin delim the Torah, v'kiyam ha-mitzvah b'nakol yesef. Then after you did your first mitzvah, and you learned Torah your first time, and you were elevated to this class, that not only are you a chelek Elokainu mal mamish, that's automatic, but you're chelke avaya omra nafshi, you're choosing that the Eibush should be your chelek. After that, the rest of Yiddishkeit is easier. It also affects this world. And the Rebbe says, I don't understand what these words mean, but the Rebbe says, only down here do you see the difference between the king and the duchs. In this world you could see the difference between somebody who's choosing to live a life of no cheshbon and to get magna for free from klipa, and a yid who says, I'm not a siv malka, I'm going to work and I'm going to earn, but I'm going to be a nitzchi, I'm going to be mekulam le'mischalfen, mekulam mischalfen, and malka le'mischalfen. V'haini, sha'afal pi shalachayra nidalei, even though on the chitzenyas the kaleva it seems, shesarach l'kabel hashpadi amazoth, you need help with the mazolis, klipa, malachim, sfiris, shari eitzeim chenala nes, right? The Eibush made ishtalshalos. Everything comes through ishtalshalos. Which is why you have to, the guy's smart. He says this taka hishtalshalos, this taka teva, and this taka eitzeim chenala nes, and he's a nonis of malka. On the level of total Mesiras Nefesh. You see, the Rebbe went from a Yid who's doing one mitzvah, learning one piece of Torah, to the Avodah, the Madreg of Eitzim B'Teinei Shalmokim. It's B'chol Moedecha. It's the Madreg of Teirasim Nosei. It says a Yid starts off with doing one mitzvah, is a Shein Chelke Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the Hemshech, that Pikchis, is B'chol Moedecha, that is Eitzim B'Teinei Shalmokim, and then Nasas Malachta Adei Achedim, and he brings the posuk va'avdu zol v'rotenchem, and he says it's not even an S. So this is the first shiur on this minor. Everything we learn today is not in the Frierdiker Rebbe's. It's all the Rebbe. That there's a Hagdama. Yehi Hashem Elokainu imanu. Kasher hoyam aviseinu. Al yadveinu v'aycheinu is a tefillah for hatzlacha in avodah. Before there's avodah, there's chelik. And in chelik there's two parts. The etzem meaning that a yid is chelik avaya ame. And then the choice of Chelka Hashem Omra Nafshi Anonesev Malka Lagabi. So at Mitzvah Sunday in the second hour we'll learn the second part of the Maamar. That was good.